여러분 안녕하세요. Hello everyone. Welcome back to Korean Fluency Journey. 여러분, we continue talking about the particles in Korean. So today I want to explain the subject particle 이가, which you are well familiar with. So let's get started. So what is subject particle? You might heard this term many times when you are learning Korean grammar. What exactly subject particle is? Let's try to understand first. So in Korean, it's called uh, 주격조사, 주격조사, which literally means subject marker particle. So you don't have to memorize or know this Korean terminology, 주격조사. You can just say it as subject particle. So what is subject particle? So it shows we use subject particle in order to show in the sentence who or what is the subject of the sentence. To be more precise, who does the action or what does the action. So in English, if we compare it Korean grammar with English, in English the word order is very important, and word order determines the subject. So whatever comes first in the first place, at the beginning of the sentence, that's the subject, right? So, but in Korean, as I told in my previous videos, the subject can be at the beginning of the sentence, in the middle, at the end of the sentence. It doesn't matter because Koreans, they use the particles in order to determine, okay, so if we use a certain particle, it has certain functions. So in this case, it's subject. So when you use 이가 particle in your sentence, it can mean that it's a subject, most of the cases. So it shows who or what is the subject of the sentence. Like it can be a person, or it can be a thing that does the action. So there are two types. There are two subject particles in Korean. So one is 이, and the other is ka. So e, we use it after consonant ending nouns. So for example, we have an example here, 학생, right? 학생. So you have to look at the final consonant. So that is ing, right? ing. So that's a consonant. So that's why we use 학생이, 학생이. Next word, it has the same consonant ing, so we use the same subject particle 이, 선생이, 선생이. And as for ka, sometimes we also pronounce it as ga. So when it comes between two vowels, like I mean the kiok. So used after vowel ending nouns. For example, we have a word 친구, which is translated as a friend, 친구. So we need to say 친구가 because the final letter is the vowel, not a consonant. So that's why we say 친구이, no, 친구가, 친구가. As you can see, 기억 here. Let me choose another color. So 기억 here is between u and a, so we should pronounce it as G, g sound, like 친구가, not 친구가, 친구가. It's a more like a voiced vowel, consonant, 친구가. And the next word is 어머니, 어머니. So we need to say 어머니가, 어머니가, because the final letter is E, and E we know is a vowel. So that's why we say 친구가, 어머니가. Okay, now let's look at the example sentences which use the subject particle. So the number one is 학생이 학교에 가요. 학생이 학교에 가요. So the student goes to school. Where? To school, right? So we have, in the English, you can just, by looking at the order of the sentence, the student goes to school, you can easily say the student is the subject of the sentence. But in Korean, what you need to use E in order to know, in order to determine the subject. So 학생, it's a consonant, so we say 학생이 학교에 가요. 학생이 학교에 가요. Who goes to school? So the student. So 학교에 가요 학생이. You can change the word order. It doesn't. It will not be a problem. So, but Koreans they usually use like subject, object, and the verb. Next sentence. 친구가 예뻐요. 친구가 예뻐요. So we have a 가. So that means the friend or a friend, my friend is pretty. Is pretty. So who is pretty? So my friend is pretty. So 친구가 is the subject. And we have particle, subject particle 가. And the next sentence is 고양이가 자요. 고양이가 자요. So 고양이, we know it's a cat, right? 고양이. So it's a vowel. E is a vowel, so we need to say 가. 고양이가 자요. The cat is sleeping. The cat is, who is sleeping? The cat is sleeping, right? So in order to say that the cat, 고양이, will not be enough. 고양이가. Of course, in conversation, many Koreans, they tend to drop the particles. I mean, the subject particles. 학생 학교에 가요. 친구 예뻐요. So that's also normal. That's a grammatically correct sentence when you drop the subject particle. But when I teach my students, I teach them from the beginning, when they start the elementary level, I tell them not to drop the particles, even if it's not the case, even if when they master the particles or the Korean, I always try to teach the way that they will not drop the particles, because it's very important to understand them. If you start explaining them at the beginning that you can drop those particles in the sentence, it might confuse them a little bit. So that's why I try not to tell them use the drop the particles when they are at the beginning or even intermediate level. When you are very well familiar with particles, so you can distinguish them easily in your sentence or in conversations, not only when you say something, but also when you hear when native Korean speakers say. So in that case, maybe, yeah, you can drop those particles that are possible to drop, right? So that's why you can drop them as well in conversations. So 학생이 학교에 가요. 친구가 예뻐요. And 고양이가 자요. And I have practice exercises, which you can try and check your knowledge about the subject particle e and ka. If it's a noun with ending with consonant, you need to use e, 학생 e. But if it's a vowel ending noun, then you need to use ka, right? 친구가 학생 e. So, and there are 10 sentences here, so they're very, very easy. And just you can fill in the blank with either e or ka. So you can do this exercise and then leave your answers in the comment section below this video. I can check and then give my feedback. But I don't think you will need my feedback because it's a very easy exercise, but still you can maybe find some new words here in the sentence used. So yeah, that's it for today. I hope you will find this video helpful. There are also other usage tips of 이가, and most students confuse it with 은는, but I'm not going to explain all in this video. I will make a separate video about the differences between 이가 and 은는, so in my upcoming video. So I hope you will find this video helpful. If you have any questions, you can ask me anytime. And thank you very much for watching my video. I'll see you in my next videos. Bye.